CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
I screwed this up. Apologies, John. And it's another beautiful day in Pennsylvania. My Bluetooth went out on my speaker or my computer, so it got a little confused. Hold on, let's try this again. I got nothing. Anyway, it's another beautiful day in Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us. We're on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on CMPRadio.net. It's the station as well as the voice of Chester. I'm joined today by a familiar face to you CMP Radio listeners, Dave Burman of Delco Sports 360. He's going to be joining us, as well as Chris Edwards, a known authority on Delco High School sports. And we're going to be recapping the game on yesterday between Perkiomen Valley and the Chester Clippers, which didn't quite go the way that we would have liked. However, there's nowhere to go but up, right? So, gentlemen, now you're on camera. Thank you for joining us. Welcome aboard the train.
All right, good morning. Sunday morning show. Pretty early for me. I like to sleep in on Sundays. So you know that. I was a PA announcer, 9th year for Chester High football. Darren, you're doing a great job on the play-by-play. CMPRadio.net. Chris to my right here. He starred for Strathaven High School, and Coach Clancy graduated, 2000, right, Chris? But on the 99 state championship Strathaven High School football team with Mark Jones just played an unbelievable, tough schedule, state champs, and you won it again after you went to Delaware. They won a back-to-back state champs, Strathaven, 99, 2000. Then you went to Delaware, helped them win a national championship, Division I AA in 2003, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Well,
so, yeah, Chris.
Flacco on that team?
No, Flacco came in after us. Andy Hall was our quarterback.
Okay. All right.
Now, Darren played for North Penn.
Oh, really?
North Penn of Blossburg.
Yeah, way up at the Single-A school near Mansfield.
Okay.
Yeah, but Darren, have you ever talked about that on your show?
No, and actually, I just recently, I remember when you said you got a subscription to a newspaper service. And
Newspapers.com. Yes.
So I jumped on, I just went straight to my old, newspaper and, paid for their archive. And I was looking through the old articles and I'm like, look at all this. I've never mentioned a word of this and all this stuff is sitting here.
Well, it's pretty cool to say that because you played against, you played sports basketball and football, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, football. So you played, you were Single-A back then. Now, what year did you,
93. Graduated 93.
93, so he's older than
47.
Huh?
48.
49, yeah. I was just under the window, so I turned 19 my senior year. But thankfully, I turned 19 in April because I was sweating. That whole eligibility requirement. I don't know if they still even have that now.
Now, I actually went to the school that was before Strathaven, Wallingford Swarthmore School District. Okay. In 1983, Swarthmore and Nether Providence, where I graduated from in 1976, believe it or not. That's a long time ago. I saw my mugshot the other day, right?
Right. Oh! Yes, I got to put that on.
Yeah, the first day of college, I got a mugshot. Yeah.
Wait, now that was an actual mugshot? Because I thought you were joking.
No, I wasn't in jail.
Like I thought it was like your license picture. All right,
never been arrested and never been in jail. I went in jail, I had because those fundraisers, jail and bail, those fun things.
Okay.
It looked like a mugshot, but it was for my student card.
Yeah.
Fall 76. So they merge 83 Swarthmore, summer of 83 Swarthmore into the Providence becomes Strathaven. And Chris, after you graduate, we'll get to it. Chris has seen Chester play. He'd love to be on the Chester coaching staff. He'd like to be on any coaching staff, but he's seen him scrimmage Imhotep. You saw what Imhotep did yesterday.
Okay.
They won 87 to nothing.
Well, that's just.
Well, yeah,
we'll talk about stuff like that in a little bit.
Yeah, but anyway, you see Chester play. You watched the video of Darren doing the game yesterday. So let me know when you want to start talking about yesterday's game with Chester against Burman of Delco.
Oh, I tossed the ball to your core guys because
schedule. They toughen the schedule. Chester, they're a 5A school on the smaller side with a population that's still 5A classification, 6 classes in Pennsylvania, and they played a solid traditional. Growing area school, Collegeville, near Ursinus College, Burman Valley, and they beat us 31 to nothing, and it was just a methodical beating. It was just, it slowly. It was, and Chester, they like to run and gun a little bit, and
that was the thing. They got no leeway as far as when Burman Valley started their rush got there most often. I knew that Sturgis kid was going to be a problem, but holy smokes. There was a lot of very little time plays. I'm sorry, Dave, please.
So Imhotep beat this Life Charter Academy school from outside of Richmond, Virginia yesterday, 87 to nothing. I thought they would at least be you would think automatically. Yeah, so, all right, let's go focus on Chester. You saw the scrimmage against Imhotep. What did you see, Chris? And Chris is one of these guys that calls a spade. And, you just, you want all the schools in Delaware County to prosper. So we're focusing on the Clippers today and, public school, boundary school. What do you think?
I think when I went there, it's hard to tell from the scrimmage. But, when they go 10 on, 10 off, Imhotep, clearly, they got size, they got speed, they got guys going Division I as a sophomore, junior, or senior. These guys get committed to colleges early there. Anybody can say that they recruit. It's a Philadelphia school. I mean, when I coached at Strathaven, we did play them in the playoffs, and our kids fought, but we were undersized, undermatched, and we lost 36-0.
That was 2 years ago in the state semifinals. As good as Strathaven was.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, Dave. You've been around the sports so long that things change. Like kids go to different places. Kids can live in our neighborhood and go wherever they want. You know what I mean? Their parents pay to go. But anyways,
and that's a society we're much more mobile nowadays. I mean, families used to get a house, and that house stayed for 2 generations.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they
come and taxes and mileage for somewhere else. So it's one of those things, or wherever you live. So Imhotep, just a better team. Discipline. It's like anything with social media and everything anymore. These kids all get on it. They all talk smack. And, emotions were high, I thought, for the Chester kids because I guess somebody on Imhotep sent out a reel or something.
Okay.
Something about exit 6. So the kids, like me personally.
And I did notice I'm sorry, I did notice some chicanery on the sidelines, late in the game as it was apparent, as the result was becoming more apparent.
The scrimmage.
At the game yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was some young fellas. Now, I couldn't tell which high school they were from, but they're obviously on Chester's schedule. And these guys, I'm like, guys, you took time out of your Saturday to come up here and talk. You could have easily been on cnpradio.net watching the game while hanging out playing video games or whatnot. You took that time to come out there and talk some smack to these Chester players because I noticed the Chester players going, when we see y'all, we're going to bust y'all ass.
Okay, that's when I saw, a couple Chester guys yelling at somebody. They were tipped off enough.
That's probably Shelton kids.
Okay,
yeah. Playing next. So it's one of those things, and that to hit on that, I feel like, you can have the best athletes, that kids can be well coached, you can have good weeks of practice, but when your emotions rise, and you do stuff that gets you a 15-yard penalty. I heard you talking about it on a video. I was watching briefly last night and this morning. That's just undisciplined football. And I'm not taking nothing away from the kids. It's one of those things. It's the first game of the year, opposite team. Now this counts. The scrimmage is a scrimmage.
Right.
It's a gauge to see where you're at. It's a gauge to kind of see where your kids are at, what you need to do, plus and minus. I know that they're young up front. They got a freshman center.
Yes.
The coaches speak highly of him. He's got a lot of, aggression and stuff like that. So they're building around a young team. They got a cool kid that's getting recruited by everybody and their mother. Yeah, so it's one of those things.
I stood next to him. I always call him the oak tree.
Yeah.
And so I've never met him personally over the past 2 seasons, but then yesterday I approached him after the game to ask him for an interview one of these days.
Dom,
yes, because modeling off of Dave, I was like, "Ooh, I want some players on my show," and so I stood next to him. I was like, "Yeah, that's an apt nickname, Darren. Yeah, there you go."
Yeah, so having a kid like that, like you know, you could build around something like that, right? So it's one of those things like where, like when stuff's not going your way, it's hard. Like when you have the coaches are emotional too. You know, the coaches put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the game, and they prepare all off season, all preseason, and they have great intentions going into it. But unfortunately, as coaches and as adults, we can't play the game for the kids. We just got to put them in the right position. So, you know, it's one of those things. Sometimes as a coach, they got to hit the reset button because they got a tough three weeks. It's like, you know, you got Burman Valley coming down, and everyone's like, oh, well, they don't play on Saturdays and they're only playing on. It doesn't matter. When you're a good disciplined high school football team, you do a line assignment football, and it's going to show.
They had an operation going because their assistant coaches were to my right. And I was just ear hustling as they were talking. I was like, wow, okay, they've got an operation.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you got the Burman Valley team coming from Chester,
Cheltenham Thursday.
Yeah,
okay, so
it's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. It's a short week for them. Monday they got to get to business. I'm sure they watched film this morning, or I don't know how they operate, but
actually, I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
They probably. Short week in Cheltenham. Under the lights up there?
Yes, 7 o'clock on Thursday nights.
And then Downingtown West comes to Chester. It's on Saturday.
No, that'll be later in the season.
I thought the first 3 games were.
Phoenixville, 5A, who's much improved.
Yeah.
And then Interborough, who got.
Interborough. Yeah, they got a tough schedule. I mean, the first 4 weeks are tough. Yeah. I honestly an Interborough team too. You're talking local football. What's the coach's name that came on the show?
Denny Lux.
Yeah, Denny Lux came on here last year, and me and Dave were on here talking about playoff football and stuff like that. So he was a freshman football coach. Then he got promoted when Steve Lennox resigned or retired.
Yes.
And I feel like he's turned the program around. I'm not talking you got a tough once
what
you
I saw from Interborough last year with Big Dan, and that was during Chester's hot start.
Yeah.
They still gave them a contest right up until Chester wound up winning going away. But that was obviously they weren't scared.
So it's nobody's gonna be scared. You got helmets and pads on and stuff like that. They had a real good running back last year.
Kamara, oh my goodness.
He's in Yale.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Super smart then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, it's one of those things like you talk Chester football. Yeah, they were 10-0 last year. They went out and I think they won 1 playoff game last year against Marple Newtown.
And that was a great game.
Yeah.
That was intense. Marple's much improved this year. Young.
They got a big offensive line, Marple Newtown, from what I can remember.
Yeah.
It's you want to see these kids, especially a kid like Toole. He's getting highly recruited, and I like he's long, he's good.
Yeah,
I like watching him play, but it's frustrating to watch someone play that's so good and they can't get anything going.
Had a hard time getting him in the ball. I said on the broadcast yesterday. I said I'm not saying that name a lot today. You know, and then when they did, there were a couple of times they tried to hit him on a quick one when they were still within striking distance with respect to the score. But pass was fired too hard off his hands because they had something to work with.
Their coverage was unbelievable.
So the kid, what's his name? Jalen, the quarterback, sophomore?
Harris.
Oh, Jalen Harris.
With a kid like him that's elusive like that, I'm just talking football. Like, you got to turn up real estate. You can't really, you want to throw the ball, you want to do this, that, and the third. You want to get the ball to certain kids. You want to get them into your playmakers' hands, but beat them up front a little bit. You know what I mean?
Run right at
them. So I feel like next week when they go out to Cheltenham, it's one of those things where they got to hit the reset button, have a little chip on their shoulder, and kind of smack them in the mouth a little bit, and have like a little, like when you throw the ball and you're doing all this other stuff with the sweeps and all that else, it's a lot. You got to have something in the mix to do all that. So
yes, because it's still football after all. And there was when it became apparent in the first quarter, I was like, these guys are getting no running room, right? So the best thing would be to do is just go right at them.
So the defense held up. They held them to 3 the first quarter.
At the halftime, it was only 10.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Okay, we're going to adjust, but they adjusted 2. You know, and Rob Heist at Perkiomen Valley's in his 8th year against really tough competition, 63-18.
That's it.
And then they went to the District 1 6A semis last year and lost a 1-point game. The Central Bucks West 14-13.
That's crazy. They missed a couple extra points.
Right, and they lost some good players, but they had some sophomores yesterday that were just tearing it up. Now, stats yesterday rushing, the Reedy kid, you called his name a lot.
Yes.
Number 32, Nathan Reedy, 6'1", 200-pound sophomore. He had 65 yards. It seemed like 1,000 yards the way he was playing. They had Michelli. Actually, one of the parents said they pronounced the M like a B. So Bicelli, because it's Italian or whatever. She's out here, Italian people. So he had.
Hey, you get my name right, huh?
Yeah, right. Bicelli. I didn't get that right. He only had 19 yards rushing, it says here. Whatever, that's what it said. Now, Chester rushing.
We couldn't get Melvin's longest run might have been Nyree Melvin's junior running back for Chester. He might have got his longest run might have been 4 yards.
Yeah.
His first 2 carries went for negative. Both carries went for negative
The
yards.
young quarterback from Perkiomen Valley, McDonald, he's only a junior, 13 out of 24, 174 yards. Jalen, again, only a 10th grader, 8 for 18, 102 yards. And then the receiving, they made enough passes. Perkiomen Valley to keep Chester honest.
Yeah.
And there you go. I mean,
he had some well-placed balls yesterday. That came out wrong. He threw some nice passes. There was a couple. There was a one incompletion in the end zone down the left side. I want to say 3rd quarter. He hit the kid right on the hands.
Beautiful.
Over the Chester defender. Didn't get their head. Chester defenders didn't get their heads around.
So that's until the end of the game. Yeah. So basically, Cheltenham had an issue with Abington. I think it was an Abington fan had a gun.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
They arrested them.
Cheltenham student at the Abington game wound up shutting down the game because somebody noticed that he had a firearm, and they probably couldn't have missed it because according to the report on 6 ABC, it was an extended clip firearm. And then when, according to the article, when police made contact with the young fella, he had another clip on him. I'm like, Jesus, how much shooting did you expect to do?
It's a shame that the world we live in nowadays, I remember as a kid, if you had a problem with somebody, I fought the same kid 10 times.
Right. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. All right.
It's one of those things where, there's so much hate in this world that, where you're coming to a social event.
Right.
And your peers at your school are playing a game and representing your school. So they just
A
don't.
lot of work went into this, sir.
Yeah.
A lot of work went into this.
In my real life, and I just see a lot of love. Okay, I see a lot of love where we got Wallingford. I see a lot of unity, but I know out there it's not. There's sorry. So you see some other stuff. But anyway, yesterday I thought Perkiomen Valley, very professional organization. Yeah. I didn't see any trash talk from their side, Darren. Right. Perkiomen, they seem like
steady as it goes. Steady. I'm sorry.
They're meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
They just play the game.
I'm sure when they play Springford later, that's our rival.
Springford's a tough game for them.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's a team that beat them twice in a couple years. Yeah, so anyway, so the Clippers now go to Cheltenham, and hopefully Cheltenham's got some on their mind. They've got some props. So we got to get out there and focus, and we'll see what happens. Now, we don't have to worry about Cheltenham playing Reggie Jackson. The great Major League Baseball player.
No
Even
kidding.
Cheltenham High School.
No kidding.
The stall.
I did not know that.
Mr. Cocky, I love him. Well, I didn't
Mr.
like him.
October.
He played for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I like Reggie Jackson. They went Cheltenham High.
Did not know that.
And,
He was a little cocky, man. He was a little cocky.
Oh yeah. This is Clippers head coach Dennis Shaw after the game. Or
coach, I know field position was a big thing today. Yeah. Started off a lot of guys in your position, on your side of the field. Yeah, unfortunately, they execute on the offensive end. They didn't execute on the offensive end enough to move the ball from the field. They started the first two drives, 30-yard line, next drive, 15-yard line. So automatically, we rose up for the first half. Unfortunately, to a field goal. Unfortunately, up to nothing, but it's just today was a case of our guys just not being prepared physically. Physically, like, understanding the circumstances of the weather, it's the first game. Right. But at the end of the day, man, you got to prepare. We had the time to prepare, and that's more so what I'm upset about, and that's something that we'll fix. We'll be right back to it Thursday night, 5 days. Yeah, that's the thing. We'll turn around. We'll be right back to it. So, unfortunate L, we come back, watch film tomorrow as a group. Yeah. And then we on to Cheltenham Thursday night. All right, Coach. Well, I'll see you there, all right? All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, so he said it. You know what I mean?
Fight mentality, yeah.
I'm going to get a quote because the Delco Times, I haven't seen anything. I usually the Montgomery County papers cover the game, so good to see quotes there. And the Perkiomen Valley fans that I talked to after the game were very impressed with the crowd, the Chester cheerleaders again.
Yes, always.
Clipper kids were nice. I mean, respectful. So that's what I hear most of the time. Now, when you start getting Chichester in the mix, and I've seen that, unfortunately, when Chester plays like Chichester, that's when you start getting the trash talk. I don't like that.
Yeah, that cross-town rivalry thing is always hairy.
Strathaven had those issues. When they. Yeah.
So when I played, it was always Ridley.
There you go. There's always one squad that gets your.
It was kind of everybody because when you're on top, everybody wants to knock you down. So I didn't lose many high school football games, and
I didn't have that problem.
Junior year, we lost to Allentown Central Catholic at Whitehall High School in Allentown.
13-12 because
Steve Lennox missed two
goals. You really, you will not forgive him.
Nah. We would have won my junior year and senior year.
I would follow you. I went to the game.
You also got to remember, you had Mark Jones as a junior. You had a kid, Drew Scott. You had Ray Bradwell. We had a tough tight end, Dave Redman. Even though we didn't throw the ball a lot, he was a big tight end. We had a lot of good football players on that team.
So I gotta ask, if you ever come across this former teammate in the bar, you see him, you're like, I'm having a doubles maker's neat and he's paying. Yes.
No, it's not like that. It's just one of those things. As an athlete, you guys work so hard together,
right?
And it's unfortunate, Kevin Clancy's one of those guys who's super positive. He just went back to the extra point. If it was me, I would have went for two. So just to kind of spice it up a little bit, because when you lose by a point to go to the state championship game, it's hard to swallow. You beat a Berwick team 14-10 in Wilkesboro, and you shut them down. You got an 85-yard drive, and it took 22 minutes to get us in the end zone. So you want to talk about methodical football?
That was the 98 season. I was on the radio in Virginia. I drove up for that game. That was before the internet. You had literally go to the game. I knew Berwick was ranked third in the country.
Yeah, that's back when they were powerhouse.
They were a powerhouse.
So it was 10-0. It was 10-0 Berwick, and then that pass across the middle, Mike Connor, now assistant at.
He's a defensive coordinator.
To Mark Jones.
Is he really? Yeah. Wait, so he is still at Strathaven? I thought I read because I was trying to track him down and trying to get him.
Well, that's Dan.
Dan's young at Penn State. He's
coaching.
He was coaching at Westchester. Then he went to Wagner, and they hired him at Penn State.
So Mike passed across the middle, all the articles on that, and it was electrifying. And then Berwick, and then Strathaven pulled out the win with that.
At half, we kicked the ball off, and Pete Selbright set the tone. He drilled this kid. He smoked this kid on special teams. You can hear that hit from Pennsylvania to California. That's how hard he hit him. We just had a different mentality.
Check his pulse.
Yeah, seriously. He smoked the kid. My dad still talks about it. It's 24 years ago. So it's one of those things where if you play
Strathaven, that's 97 there, your junior year. Sophomore year.
We lost to Berwick 7-0 when they had Gus Felder.
But you played teams, and it's amazing. You ran into those WPIAL Western PA teams, that have had success. Beat St. Joseph Prep in 2 state finals over the years. They beat Imhotep the last 2 years. What the old boundary schools, Penn Trafford, Pine Richland again.
Yeah.
So how do they do it?
I think they just do it with good football. Like, it's one of those things where when you practice, like, you can have all the talent in the world. You can have all the speed in the world. Like, I coached at Glen Mills for years, and we would play teams from D.C. that were awesome. Like Coach Bell, his Byron Leftwich. We played against them, like, and those kids were good, but they were also good and disciplined. They were good. They made mistakes, you know, but they didn't let those mistakes kill them, right? So, like, when I was at the Mills, a kid jumps offside, we're yelling at him. Instead of yelling at him, say, watch the ball. You know, like,
pay attention.
Pay attention. Like, this is what we work for all week.
Right.
Know? So it's one of those things. It's all like with football. When I coach the kid, not the position. So every kid's different, right? So, you know, you got to know what makes them tick. So you can't just be all meat and potatoes, X's and O's. You got to, like, kind of know, like, how they move and how they maneuver. That's just always been my mentality when I got involved with football.
You have to adjust.
Yeah, you have to adjust to the kids. These kids are a
adjustable.
lot different. It wasn't like when we were in high school in the 90s and 70s and stuff like that. You know, it was like where when your parents were there, the parents weren't, like, they were involved, but they weren't texting coaches. They had no cell phones back in the day. They couldn't reach them on social media. They couldn't reach them by email because it was all, if you needed to talk to them, you went to the school, you made an appointment, whatever. Now everyone's so scared of, like, coaching the kids. You know, like, I'm not saying, like,
I want to deal with all that.
Yeah, like, if I say something wrong, you know what I mean? Like, hey, get your ass moved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because my coach was like that. Like, he knew, like, we had a kid who he made a terrible turnover that lost against our big rival, and we were still in contention for the league championship. And he knew if it was me, he'd have went off because he knew I could take that.
Yeah.
But Mikey, he said, you know, he was like, you could see it in him. Like, he wanted to go off, but you could see him stewing. And then he looked at us and was like, talk to Mikey. You know, and sent us to, like, you know, stroke Mike's hair and everything. I'm sorry, Dick.
Yeah, but that's how it is, though. It's like everybody has access to everything, right? So when you coach a kid, you coach a kid. And a lot of people that are coaching, like, a lot of, like, you, myself, Dave, anybody that's involved with the sporting world, they devote free time. You know what I mean? Like, it's time away from their family. They're coaching kids that aren't their kids.
Right.
You know, so they put effort into a kid that they can help develop, help become a young man, and, like, teach them things that they can, hopefully when they go to college, they move on and take with them. So it's one of those things where I think coaching a sport, whether it's football, soccer, football, like, whatever, basketball, it's hard. It's hard because because we feel the emotion. Like, you heard it in Dennis's voice, like, he was pissed, but rightfully so. He was also embarrassed. Right. You know what I mean? You could just say he was more. What you could say, like, you know, we didn't get anything going. When you can't get your offense going, it's hard. You got a short time on the field, and then the defense has to come right back out. So how are you going to defend a team that's moving the ball, gashing you up a little bit? Like, you do it with the run. And you beat them up a little bit. So Chester was beat up a little bit. You know what I mean? They were on the defensive side. They were on the field a lot.
First year, kept saying that a lot yesterday.
First year as a head coach, and he's been through the wars. He played, West Catholic High School, a hell of a player. So he knows what he's doing, and his staff is as passionate.
They're all passionate.
So I mean, we've had interviews with these guys too. How has Coach Clancy done it at Stratton? How does he handle if a parent's going to say, Clancy, you don't have it anymore? Because there was a period Strathaven was down, like 15, 16, 17. There was a problem there. I don't know what was going on. So he survived that, and then he is. How does he handle all that?
If he says anything to him, he'll go down as one of the best high school football coaches in the state of Pennsylvania. He wins. So even when he loses, he's still giving his best effort. So it's one of those things where, I think as a coach, losing beats you up more than, like, anything else. So,
sure.
Yeah, because you're so used to winning, you're so used to having the players. So a lot of it has to deal with the players too and their attitude, who's coming out, who's not. I feel like at Strathaven, just because I'm linked to them and I went there and I live in the community now, it's one of those things where they got a real good freshman feeder program. Dan Mulhern's been the head coach there for about 9 to 10 years. So he does a real good job with the kids, man. He coaches the kids, and he's got a good, even keel attitude. So he's helped out the program a lot. So in those down years, it takes time, right? Like, it takes time to get better. Like, you're not always going to have a Mark Jones. You're not always going to have kids that go to Division I schools and you get to the district finals and the state championship games. Like, everyone expects that. There's going to be times where you don't. So, like, everyone, like Chester, they were 10-0, like they won 10 games last year.
Right.
Everyone's expecting that. So it's expected. So when they came Saturday, it was like, hey, exit 6, baby. That's all you hear about. Like, and it's like, they're coming to our house. But, it's one of those things. You're going to lose when you play a tougher schedule.
And that was the thing I thought about yesterday with respect to scheduling, because they're playing, you have these expectations now. You have just coming off your biggest, most successful season in school history. Now there's going to be those horrible words for when you have success. What now?
Yeah. What's next? Where do we go from here? Like, so instead of the negativity with it, they got to build off of it, because they played a good football team. Burman of Valley's been in the districts, been in the state plallayoffs. Like, they know how to win football. Got 68-18.
They never made the states.
In
District 1, when you go that deep, it's basically a state quarterfinal. State, but yes,
but the record speaks for itself. It's 68-18. So you see something like that, they're playing disciplined football, and they're taking kids that weren't such good football players and just making them good role players so it fits their scheme. So to get back to what Kevin Clancy does, he finds kids to fit his scheme. He hasn't changed the offense in 35 years. It's so predictable, you know what I mean? Like, playing there, all we did was turn up real estate. We didn't have to throw the ball. If Mike Connor threw the ball, it's because they had 11 guys in the box, and we had Mark Jones, Josh Allen, Drew Stroud, Ray Bravo, Matt Sanders, I can name them all. They would just fly down the field and catch the ball, and no one's catching them. So it's one of those things where we were so predictable, where they crowded the box and we just smashed them. Like, we just would hit them in the mouth and keep hitting them until they couldn't take it no more. And then you just pounce on them.
And back to the scheduling thing, I got in a big to-do with Pierre yesterday, because Pierre
on the air?
No. After the game, we were back here, and because he felt that they shouldn't have been playing an opponent like that. I'm of the opinion that I remember, say, Virginia Tech, or there were other programs, and yes, they would play Wisconsin even. They would play cupcake non-conference.
Penn State also.
But then once they got into the meat of their conference schedule, and then they started getting punched on the chin, a lot of times they crumbled through the season. And I'm a big believer of, play Florida State when they were play anybody, anywhere, and that helps not only develop your program, exposes your program. And
I remember last year when Dennis and Sam were on the air, and they were talking about filling the schedule, and he made a comment saying that like people, it's like, we got to look for people to play us. Well, you have open schedules, and DeVoue's only so big, right? So a lot of people, Strathaven's the same way. So they have a non-league opponent, and then they play Interborough. I feel like they signed up Interborough, and they played, then they played Kensington one year, Kensington High or something. Yeah. Like, I remember when I was coaching there, Mr. Clancy said, Berwick reached out to me, and I was like, let's go play them. Let's play them there, because it'd be good for the kids, regardless if they're good or not.
Good experience.
It's a good experience for the kids. It could be a weekend trip. It could be a third, you know what I mean? Like,
even your bench players, they remember, yes.
It's something that you remember. So when I remember playing wherever we were, whenever we traveled, whenever we played, it was one of those things, man. Like, you don't forget that stuff. Like, being in Hershey, like playing the state championship game and winning, it's a great experience. Beating Berwick at Wilkesboro, walking off that field in that little gully of a AstroTurf stadium, beating them at their place. Now you got respect. Right. So it's one of those things where, everybody thinks everybody recruits. I can name every address where my friends lived when we played in high school. And they're like, oh, Moore Jones, he's from, no, he's not. He's not.
His aunt lives there.
I don't think his aunt lives in Chester. They all live in Media or Wallingford. So.
You were his older brother, Isaac Jones, 94 grad.
He was the starter of the dynasty, those guys. Lamar Campbell, Chester Kid went to St. James.
Chris Leggett's son.
Yeah, when St. James closed down, they had the option to pick where they wanted to go. He ended up going to Strathaven. So it worked out for him. Lamar Campbell was in the NFL for quite some time. Now he's involved with, I think, the Seattle Seahawks,
Yes.
I believe. So he's still actively involved with, football operations or whatever. But, that's the start of everything. You got Corey Monty, went to West Virginia. Nobody talks about him. He was a fullback that played football at West Virginia.
Okay.
He started in the 90s. You got a kid, Matt Conway, that I idolized. He was the player of the year as a lineman in Delco.
Wow.
He went to Louisville and transferred to Delaware.
Okay. And y'all wind up back together at Delaware then?
No, he was older than me. So I was a kid playing tackle football on the side of the stadium watching him. And I wore his number. So it's funny. Anytime that someone wears my number, try to hit him, it's like, man, I hope that kid's tough. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because you're talking Matt Conway. He was an offensive defensive lineman that was the player of the year in Delaware County. That's unheard of. It's normally a quarterback. It's normally a skill position. But it's one of those things, man. It's like anything with football. You have to don't dwell on what you did wrong last week. Build off of it. And have that chip on your shoulder where.
Precisely.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. Pierre was talking about the schedule. He said so. He was like, why would we play a team like this? Knowing. We should have a feel-good game.
Right. That's what he said. Yes.
He said a feel-good game like they had last year with Central. And they
enough. 80.
Yeah, well, I'm exaggerating.
Right.
But no, I understand where Pierre's coming from because sometimes you got to test your kids too early.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like with coming off a season as Chester did the previous year, a lot of change here. Coach Bell's now the administrator at the school.
AD.
And
he's still
actively involved. So, and Dennis Shaw being the first year head coach, there's a lot of
taking on an experienced guy.
So it's one of those things where I'm like you, I'm a big component of that playing up a little bit. Chester, Dave said they're a small 5A school, but listen, they put their helmet and shoulder pads on just like a 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A team, 6A, 5A team does. So.
A lot of 6A teams don't like to play in smaller schools.
Because it's points for playoffs. They want to play. So
but once in a while, it's a good matchup. Now, Coatesville played Chester 2 years ago, and that was one heck of a game. Yeah. Coatesville came here. It was an unbelievable game. Down to the wire, and Coatesville pulled it out. But that helped.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker, but it was that season. Oh my goodness, I couldn't take it. Those games were every game was close.
And then the next week, Chester 2021 season, then Chi came in, and they Star Reeves. They said anyway, it was Star. I love the kid and everything, but there's too much trash talk, and Chester was a little down from that loss, and then
Chi ended up beating them.
Yeah, 14 shut us out, 14-0.
So they started the season out too.
No, they played Coastal later in the year.
Oh, okay.
So then we went to the playoffs and lost. Kennett, who beat us in a smack. They played Sparacino was their running back. Were you announcing that game back then? Playoff 2 years ago, 2021. It was District 1 5A opening round game at Chester, first ever PIAA playoff game. District 1.
I was following the Clippers. I don't remember being there.
Kennett. Played Kennett from Kennett Square, and they just gave Sparacino the ball carrier. Sparacino.
Yeah, you don't bring. It's one of those things when, like you said, Kevin Clancy runs the ball. He threw the ball. I think down the right sideline. I left at halftime just because I know if it's 14-0, 21-0, it's only going to end up getting worse for the opponent. They're going to keep grinding them down because. The kids are trained to play both ways. It's one of those things. They got a good system. They got coaches that's been there forever, but football's football.
Right. All right. The Clippers. You said they had a freshman center. Chester?
Yeah. Chester.
Oh, okay. So I missed that. And would that be Solomon? Oh, okay. Number 55.
Yeah.
All right. He's 5'11", 220. What did you see in him yesterday? Or Chris?
I just. I talked to Jason, the one coach.
McCarthy.
Yeah, so we speak about him. I said, look, talk to Donovan. I'll come down and help him because I played center at the University of Delaware, but I started 2 years at guard, so I never played center in a competitive game, right?
Okay.
Especially at the collegiate level. So the hardest part they're saying is with him, like, you know, he's young, he's a freshman, he's got a real good upside. That, like, when you snap the ball, you got to be able to snap and hit people at the same time. So that's the most important part, to create separation, whether it's run or pass, right?
Yes.
So even when you snap the ball and it's run, you got to learn how to get your offense on. Like, you got to move so you can be engaged, right? Yes. So the hardest part is, like, if you got a one technique and you're running stretch to the right, or if you have no help, it's just you and him, he's got to learn how to snap that ball, get engaged, and, you know, turn him, you know, without holding him.
And that's just some of the things you see in great centers. It's all like one thing. It's all like
one motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, you know, I'm like, he sent me a video and I'm FaceTiming. I was working
with this young man.
No, not him. Okay. I was FaceTiming with the coach, and I like put the phone up on my truck, and I was like, "Look, I'm snapping the ball. It's here."
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to teach a kid that if you didn't do it yourself. And, like, I remember my coach in college, Coach Flood, he's the offensive coordinator at Texas now. He's like, look, you're strong, you're big. He's like,
right.
You know, like, he goes,
when you're sitting watching TV,
yeah,
I want you doing this.
He goes, because I didn't play. And he knew, like, you know, our center went down. He knew that I could play.
At some point.
He was, like, prepping me to do that. So he goes, once you learn separation and you're not flaring your arms, your thumbs are up, palms up, and you're punching people, that's the thing. So, like, you could build that offensive line around a freshman kid if he can control the inside of the line, right? So that's the thing. So I feel, I know they got a couple injuries or something up front.
Yeah, Kyron Staples is, he's
ACL or something.
He's slowly coming back.
And you're not flaring your arms.
Oh, sorry. I'm turning up.
But he should.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he should be back later in the season, hopefully. I mean, you know,
the Staples kid, right?
Yeah, number 52, Connor.
Yeah, I think Jason talks about him a lot too. You know, so I don't know. I don't know all the kids personally. I just know from what I hear, what I see. But you know, Chester's a good upside. It's good when you have a mobile quarterback. You know, the kid Harris. I feel like he. You know, you got to set your offense up around him too, though, Dave. You know, I feel with, like we said, the run game and stuff like that with Chester. I feel like, you know, against Cheltenham, they should come out and punch kids in the mouth.
Oh, definitely.
And then spread it out with a kid like Harris and run a quarterback draw. Let him move. Let him shift around.
Yes.
The kid ran for how many yards last year? You know what I mean? The kid scored like 1 million touchdowns as a freshman. He threw and ran the ball. So get back to the basics. Get back to what's good, right?
Exactly.
Like, they didn't. Coach Bell threw him in there. Like, he's a freshman. Like, we're riding with this kid. You know
He'll be all right.
So
his twin brother, Darren,
D-back or something.
Yeah, he does it all. You know, free safety, wide receiver, and he is a major talent also. So Larry McDaniel, Shamar Williams, Nari, boy, they were all. Perkins and Valley, you know, they did their homework, man. They were all over these guys. So we got a lot of young guys. I think we only have 10 seniors looking at the roster, Chester. So we have a lot of guys.
That's good though. That's good for them because now you're fighting early. As a sophomore, you got the Harris kid. Like, you're playing against Perkins Valley in week 1. It's like.
And I looked at the schedule before the season. I was like, ooh. But then I thought to myself, whoever's their opponent from week 4 on.
It's going to get beat.
Yes. It's over for you.
Yeah. Well, Downingtown West comes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Downingtown West.
But that's good that because Downingtown West barely got past Perkins Valley last season. Or no, excuse me, other way around. Perkins Valley barely got past Downingtown West.
Right.
So that, to some degree, was kind of all right, now you know where you're at. You know where you have to be in order to face Downingtown West.
Chester gave them a pretty good game out there, but they were just too big, too deep, you know.
They're too long, man. Like, when you got 100 kids on your team, and not like if your star goes down, your backup's good. Your backup's good. Like that. Not saying, you know, like you look at the sidelines, you can determine a lot about a sideline when you go. Even with Emotep, those kids, they're deep. They got that little freshman quarterback. I think he's from West Philly.
Imhotep.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Like, if you were at the scrimmage. He's the next thing at Emotep.
Okay.
The little white kid, he was moving and shaking, and I'm telling you, he has some some heart. You know what I mean? He stood in there and like made stuff happen and got smacked. You know what I mean? Like you said, like I thought the JV, like young kids for Chester, I was telling Dave, I stuck around for like the JV stuff, and I didn't do the team move the ball, like where they had the series at the end, just because I saw what I needed to see.
Okay.
And I thought the JV squad was really, really tough at Chester.
Well, we got a great feeder program, Chester. Upland Hurricanes and the Chester Panthers. So
Chester Township Cougars.
Yeah. So we got all kinds of stuff going on at the.
Wasn't there a guy on here last year?
Charles Thompson.
Yeah, great dude.
Yeah, Charles Thompson.
Yeah.
The twins?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man,
we had
the Thompson twins.
Yeah, the DeVoue Sports 360 show. Right. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, I have Johnny Gonzalez coming on the show. 50-year-old Chester guy, 50 years old, still pitching, about 6'7". But Delco, he played for Upper Darby with my nephew. They went to the championship. Delco League Baseball. So Johnny Gonzalez will be on there tomorrow, 7 o'clock. So.
Okay.
What nephew? The funny one?
No, that's yeah. My brother Marty has 4 kids, and then Ben Alex is the Sayburn.
Yeah, Sayburn.
He's all over. What is that?
Instagram.
No, this Sammy the youngest. Sammy.
He plays baseball.
Yeah, but they all play baseball. But Sammy's going to be a sophomore.
Is it at Hofstra?
He transferred. He's going to Catholic University, Washington D.C.
Nice.
Division. It's tough playing Division I ball. At any level, bro, you play.
That's a job at that point.
You played. Your head coach was
Tommy Raymond.
Yeah. So tell me,
he recruited me, and then Casey Keeler came in.
All right, so Casey Keeler, then he won a national championship not only with you guys,
and the Sam Houston
State a couple of years ago. So there you go. Did you play college ball there?
A year of Slippery Rock.
Oh, that's
I was redshirted though. Yeah. And actually, I went there because they were up and coming at the time. My senior year, but I left after my freshman year. But what would have been my senior year, they went to the national final, lost to North Alabama.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Any level of football you play. You know who loves our stuff and the updates and CNP follows us? Bill Swan.
Senior?
The
Westchester.
Yeah. He went to Westchester University
for
years. Yeah, so he loves all this stuff. It's pretty cool. He's a college coach and he's on Facebook and everything. It's pretty Yeah, he's awesome. So they're checking out our kids. Chester and the college coaches everywhere. So Cheltenham coming up. And it's going to be a short week. What are you doing? You're not used to short weeks back in the day, are you?
We had short weeks because it was either a Jewish holiday or like what is it, Labor Day?
Yeah, I'm Jewish. I can't get off. I can't get off work or nothing. This
was the whole point of being Jewish.
No, I got my brother. Yeah.
Scare money, no make money. That's what
work. So anyway, because the Jewish holidays. Now I'm not as Jewish as I should be. I haven't been in the synagogue in a while, except for my nephew's bar mitzvah. But we have
the ish is underlined. Gotcha.
Yeah. There's Rosh Hashanah coming up, which is the New Year.
Yes.
Happy New Year, and then the big one is Yom Kippur. Now we're talking religion here. That's okay?
Oh yeah. I would like to talk the airing of the grievances after this.
Yeah, I'm not that decent. So Yom Kippur is the Day of Atonement. That's when, if you're Jewish, you fast for 24 hours, just water, and all your sins will be washed away.
Really? I should do that once a week.
So anyway, that's why I think this is because of the Labor Day weekend they're doing this. Because Coatesville plays Academy Park at Coatesville.
That's going to be a good game.
Coatesville Academy Park won yesterday. Coatesville looks good. Just got a message from the athletic director, Brian Schinger. He wants to know if I'm ready to go to announce the game. So I'll be out there Thursday night. So that'll be 7 o'clock because of the Labor Day weekend. So tell me about short weeks and how you prepare. I mean, is Chester, do you think Dennis and the guys will do anything later today?
He said that they'll watch film today. They watched the film today. I'm sure they did some weight room stuff, like, keep the bones moving.
Some people were, because a lot of guys had, Harris exited the game with ice on his ankle, Toy exited the game with ice on his shoulder, so you gotta, rehab some guys there for sure.
We have a great trainer, Ken Santel.
I saw that since last season. I watched him work, and I'm like, oh, okay, I love it.
29 years.
Okay.
Because it's Chester basketball, too. Ken Santello is an absolute. That dude is a big time trainer.
Yeah.
Who's the trainer at Stratford these days?
This kid Andrew, he's a good dude too. I think his name's Andrew.
I don't know. That's a tough job.
It is, especially especially like with all the stuff nowadays. Like you can't I remember back in the day, if you got hurt, you just
rub some dirt on it.
You played through it. So it was one of those things where now you need to get cleared by doctors, and you need to have this, that, and the third, because the athletic trainer doesn't want to be held accountable for any neglect on his end for liability purposes. But I feel like that's a strong suit too. You got to have a good training staff to be successful in a tough schedule. So if kids are putting ice on there, it's week one.
That's
Can I run down some other scores?
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
Whatever.
And then because we mentioned the word recruiting with respect to high school sports.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Well, I'm going to give you a couple examples.
Goody gumdrops.
I'm going to give you a couple examples over the weekend of public schools in Delaware County beating up on Catholic schools.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, congrats to Bonner. That was a big win. Bonner Prendy. They went over to Ireland. They beat the NFL.
No kidding.
34-24. Yeah. How do you like that?
They got a Division I kids.
Yeah, they lost 11 some of their top players, but they're looking good again. This is unbelievable. Cardinal O'Hara won just one game last year in football. They played Springfield over the weekend. It's a little rivalry. Springfield beat Cardinal O'Hara 50-6. What's up with that?
Well, Springfield plays Strathaven this week. I think it's going to be a tough game because they're coming off a high of 50-6.
Yeah, over,
That means they can move the ball.
Springfield.
You got to stop it.
All right, and then we have here Springfield Monco, which actually shut the program down a couple of years ago. Didn't have enough kids. There's a Springfield Montgomery County. They beat Archbishop Carroll, who was winless last year, 22-6. Isn't that hard to believe? City's Philadelphia Catholic. Yeah. And then you got Penwood, a nice win on the road at Norristown. Penwood struggled last year, so good for them. Henderson, who Chester plays later in the year, beat Upper Darby 14-6.
Okay.
Pencrest, good win. Coach Paul Graham over Sun Valley, 34-19. Pencrest has only been winning one game a year the last couple seasons, and the only team they beat is Harrington, who dropped down. They're playing real small schools. Like this, whatever. I don't like it. You got to play at least schools your size.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to play a smaller school, play like a private school.
They should just get taken out of the Central League now if they're doing that.
They want to come back next year. They played a single A school the other day, Harrington anyway. Central Bucks West Garnet Valley. Garnet Valley's first loss in District 1 team in 34 games. Central Bucks West rematch of the District 1 6A championship, beat them last Friday night. Central Bucks West 17, Garnet Valley 13.
Good game.
Yes, it was. And Strathaven over Interboro 28-7. You were there. What are your thoughts?
It's like anything. Like we were talking before, it's predictable. The first two plays, they got a kid, James Fisher. James, good basketball player.
Yes.
He's elusive. They got a kid, Marco Kaufman, tough, hard-nosed kid. They got this kid, Vince, number 34. He changed his number. I've seen him at fullback. He's more of a defensive guy, but if you put a kid in like him, you can pound the ball because he's tough. But James, the first couple runs, it looked like he was tippy-toeing a little bit.
Yeah.
That's just me watching the Wing T football, and I've been watching it for the last 30-some years. So, a kid like him, once he gets hot, it's going to be hard to stop him. They have a real small quarterback, Jay Kitchen, number 6.
Yeah.
He can move the ball around. He navigated for Strathaven when Sam was hurt. Sam Milligan was our quarterback in Strathaven last year. He was out with a broken hand or something, and he turned out to be he came back as a running back.
A three-sport athlete. He's a Buck Nelman.
Yeah, I think he's playing football there. So I don't know. I think Strathaven's going to be like always, man. They got a tough test this week too. I don't know if they're playing them at Springfield or Strathaven. I'll see on Instagram or one of them. And but every week's tough, man. Especially in Delaware County. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yep. And whoever wins District 1 6A this year, again, will go right to the state semis, and they'll have to run into St. Joe's Prep. Now, South College is pretty good. So, they gave St. Joe's Prep a good game last year, 21-13, so hopefully, Well, we'll have to wait and see who wins District 168. It's up for grabs.
Well, I don't even know why St. Joe's Prep would be in the PIAA. It's a.
Yeah, the last 2 years, Garnet Valley, the last 2 years was undefeated all the way to the state semifinals there, and then they had to run into St. Joe's Prep, and both games were mercy rules.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Garnet Valley.
I remember the year we lost to Emotep at Ridley. That was what, 2 years ago?
36-0 in, but Stratton even was tough as all get out.
Yeah, and the following year or the following day, St. Joe's Prep played Garnet Valley.
Right.
And St. Joe's Prep whooped them. I mean, they came out they're tough. Like same thing. You got Jeremiah Trotter's kid playing for the team. You know what I mean? You got John Runyon's kid playing for the team. He went to Michigan, plays for the Packers. You got Marvin Harrison's son that played at St. Joe's Prep. He's playing at Ohio State. He's going to be drafted in the first round next year.
That's what I heard.
So it's one of those things where he's a beast. So it's one of those things where it's fortunate that like a lot of guys that play for the Eagles that are not from Philadelphia stayed in the area. They sent their kids to St. Joe's Prep. I don't blame them. Jeremiah Trotter sent his kids there, and the kid started at Clemson as a freshman. He started last year, I believe. So that's football. You're talking about PIAA rules. These kids, St. Joe's Prep, they play a tough schedule. They go out to Don Bosco. They go out to Bergen County. They go everywhere.
IMG last
I was
year.
just about to thank you, Dave.
IMG beat them 17-14. It was at Ocean City High School in Jersey. What a facility that is! And and they IMG shut Samaj Jones and those guys down totally. There's a picture of two of these IMG guys. Jones, of course, ready to throw his butt down on the ground, man.
Well, that's what happens when good meets good. So it's one of those things where people pay to go to IMG and they pay to go to St. Joe's Prep. And the kids that go to St. Joe's Prep, they get recruited to play there. They're not paying. They're paying something, but they're not paying everything. So
and we have Kevin Towns. His son's one of the starting linemen for St. Joe's Prep. Had him on there.
Kevin Towns, the Fred David kid.
92.
Yeah, the baseball player, lost to Blackhawk.
Yeah. I had Kevin on my show. Yeah.
Oh yeah. His son's a lineman.
And son, he got 6'5", 290, 300. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
what year is he?
He's a senior.
He'll go Division I now.
Yeah, they're working at it.
Yeah, so
I saw pictures of these. So St. Joe's Prep, and then you got Imhotep. It would be in District 158. Whoever wins that, I'm the public address announcer for Chester. I'm the public address announcer for Coatesville. I want them to win District 168. Okay, I'm putting it out.
Real professional, Dave. No, I'm just kidding.
And then District 158, I'm the PA guy for Chester. So. Chester. Okay, so that's
it is what it is. Like
Dan Baker's the public address announcer for the Phillies. He wants them. He likes these other teams, but he wants the Phillies to see how.
Imhotep's going to be there. It's one of those things. They're there every year, and the last 2 years they get to the state championship and they lose. So it's one of those things where they got to have a little chip on their shoulder. I think they do a good job there too with the kids that they have. They got talent, man. It's like anybody in the city can go there. I feel like. But my thing is this, growing up and playing in the PIAA when it was 1, 2, 3, and 4A, and we didn't have all these A's.
Right.
We'd have, you played every game in districts, you played every game in the state to get to the state championship. You didn't skip around, you played. So it's one of those things where these prep schools, like Malvern Prep, they're in the Interact League. They don't classify as a PIAA contender for the states or the districts, and they're a good football team. Haverford School, same thing. It's one of those things where if St. Joe's Prep it's a school that kids choose to go there from New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, wherever they can. They go there to play sports, to get a good opportunity, education or whatever. But they shouldn't be. I don't want to say they shouldn't be, but there needs to be some stipulations to what it is because Imhotep is.
Because it's a wild, wild west out there.
So you got two people that are always 5A and 6A, and I like to see good football, and I like to see kids compete and try to defeat people, especially the top dogs. Imhotep, let's just be honest, they're the top dogs in 5A and 6A. St. Joe's Prep and Garnet Valley are top. You know, Strathaven, when they got a good squad, they're up there too.
But they're constrained by their
The
boundaries.
neighborhood. So neighborhood kids. So it's one of those things, you know, MOTEP is MOTEP. They're going to pull. My dad says they recruit all over the city. You know what I mean? So you got kids that.
They don't just stop there.
We had one of them in basketball a couple of years ago, and they just, they whooped us.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But you got kids that go to Roman Catholic, right? That they could either go to John Bartram, they could either go to Chester, they could either go to Strathaven. They could go anywhere. Kids go to Roman Catholic from here. Kids go to Episcopal Academy from our neighborhoods. Kids go to these schools because, number one, they get recruited and they're going to have a better opportunity to go there.
So with respect to that, right? And I'm seeing it more evidently. It's more evident to me. Back in the day, St. Joe's Prep was good, but you didn't know like how the sausage was made.
Yeah.
So as I've become older and watched how the sausage is made, and so we mentioned IMG. So they basically started off as, to me, okay, we're going to build a program and then build a school around this football program.
IMG kids are getting pulled from all over the country.
And then we get, exactly, and then money.
Yeah, so that's kind of what it is. So it's, you know, like you seeing that kid look like Jalen Hurts against Garden Bailey 2 years ago. The quarterback looked just like him at St. Joe's Prep. And, you know, it's real easy when you got a kid like Marvin Harrison's son you're throwing the ball to that can go up and get it. You got linemen that are going to like Penn State, West Carolina. Like you got big dogs up front that are like they're kick slide kicking, they're sitting down, they're punching you. Yeah. They're not leaning, they're not getting beat. If they get beat, they're gonna go to the sideline and watch their little iPads and say, "Hey, this is what's gonna happen when they do a twist or something. I'm gonna smoke this kid. That's how they're coached."
Right. So and you're looking like the good guys on that team get NIL deals. They do.
They go on. So Jeremiah Trotter was on that coaching staff when his son was there. He coached those kids.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like you got a solid football player that played in the NFL for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
And it was a hard-nosed son of a gun. Like he would smack you in your mouth. What do you think he's teaching these kids? You think he's saying, hey, don't just be nice to these kids. Hit them in the chest. Right. Form tackle, helmet to chest. You know what I mean? Wrap and drive your feet. Like those kids, when they tackle you, they tackle you.
Darren, what do you think of Chris here? He's
oh yeah,
he's the man.
I'm interested.
You should have your own.
I'm interested in hearing. So we just talked about IMG Academy. A couple of years ago, they played this school, Bishop Sycamore High School.
Correct.
And Bishop Sycamore High School, come to find out, it was pretty much off of that. He was building it off of this IMG model. And it was covered in the documentary, the HBO documentary, BS High, which is interesting because not only was Bishop Sycamore was BS. It wasn't an actual school. These kids just took uncertified online classes.
It's bullish.
Yeah.
Smoked.
Yeah. Oh, they got destroyed.
That's right.
Oh, by the way, that was their second game in 3 days.
That's right.
All right. I did not know until I saw this documentary that there are guys that are making money to go schedule high school. So that's what he did. Roy Johnson, he was the coach of Bishop Sycamore High School. Or I'm sorry, quote unquote coach of Bishop Sycamore High School. He basically contacted this guy and said, I want to schedule all these. So he scheduled them against Lakelands, the Bishop Sycamores and the IMGs, yes. Not an actual school. So he got, and then under the premise of, this is going to open you guys up. He's found academically struggling guys that weren't maybe not going to qualify immediately with the NCAA regulations. So get a bunch of these guys. He sets them up in a hotel or apartment or something. These kids weren't taking classes, because it wasn't an actual school.
They're working out.
They're just hanging out, playing, and then going and getting executed against IMG because the game was on ESPN2.
Where was that? Was that in Pennsylvania?
This was in Ohio.
Okay, I remember that, and people were like, "This is embarrassing.
Yeah,
what's going on here?"
Ironic, because only after that this was all on display did the governor of Ohio, DeVoue at the time, be like, "Oh, at the whole press conference, we gotta get in on this, stop this stuff." Well, you would think that they would have sat around and
they just kept going.
We should probably. There is this sociopath. That's what I pretty much got from Roy Johnson as I watched this documentary. he's like listening to him. I was like, this train's gonna keep rolling. He's not showing any signs. In fact, he was running up bills. So a lot of the time that these kids were there or quote unquote enrolled, he's running up bills. So okay, we're gonna rent all these apartments for the players. He didn't pay rent not once because he knew football season is 3 months. All right, how much time before they actually put the notice on the door? 3 months. Oh, now it's not 90 days, so I got 3 months. So bang, he already put those kids in this place knowing he wasn't going to pay no rent. Took out PPE loans to whoever the kids were that gave up their SSNs to him. Took out PPE loans in their name. So you've already got a hit on your credit. You had no idea, and you thought you were coming here to get prepared for college.
And this is on HBO?
Yes.
You have to text me that because I'll go home and watch it.
Yes. Here's this sociopath, Mr. Because it seemed to me like
he's using the kids for personal growth.
It was a whole ego project. Yeah, it was just I want to be known as an awesome football coach, and
But they got crushed.
They got crushed, and they got screwed because there were some kids. They're trying to get into these schools now. A kid was trying to gain entrance into, say, Grambling State. Grambling State was, okay, we're here about story, we like you. But then they dig a little deeper, and they're like, oh.
What's your clearinghouse records?
Yeah, oh no.
So it's a money thing. IMG is a money thing, too. You got kids that go there, and, people pay to go there.
Yes.
You should have seen that crowd last night.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was.
I mean, these stadiums nowadays. I mean, you look at Texas and what have you.
There's a big game they're coming up this week. Malvern Prep and LaSalle College.
Where they playing?
6 o'clock Friday night.
I can't get there. I should definitely go to that game.
Yeah, because LaSalle's pretty good. Well, pretty good this year. But anyway, it's crazy.
So here's Johnson as he's being recorded, like towards the end of the documentary. Here's a small audio clip of Johnson. If my Bluetooth is good.
We get our ass kicked. They plaster me all over there, call me all types of names. New York Times spread the story about me, calling me crazy, calling me this. I'm a con artist, all that. We still win. You know why? Because that game got me on the phone with Michael Strahan, and now I'm talking to you. I love it when it comes together.
What a scumbag.
Oh my God.
He's nuts.
Yes, thank you. Total. Thank goodness I'm sorry, fellas, y'all had to take a hit for the team because otherwise this maniac is still loose in society. Who knows what else he would pull?
They're still around.
Yeah. So that's how he said. He said, so he's basically hyping it up. He said, we're going to keep doing it. Mind you, he got arrested. He wound up getting arrested for shoplifting from Best Buy under an assumed name. And then hours after his release from prison, he's on formerly Twitter talking about we got new players, we got this, that, and the other coming, etc., etc.
How old is this guy?
Johnson he can't be more than 30. He can't be in his 40s. I don't have his exact age right to go. Oh, wait. Let's see. The subject of the documentary, Roy Johnson, self-described honest liar. And that was his thing too. When they said, okay, what the hell is wrong with you playing 2 games within a 3-day span? Because he was like, there wasn't no rule against it.
I think they won that. I think it was a Pennsylvania team.
They won the first one. Yes, there you go.
School still.
That's not far from either, or is that Western
Pittsburgh?
Yes, one of my old teammates at Slippery.
Chuck Fusina went there. Are you guys too young to remember Chuck Fusina?
Dave, I don't remember 95% of the people you talk about.
Chuck Fusina.
Running back?
Went to Penn State, and he led our Philadelphia Stars to the USFL World Championship the summer of 1984.
I was 3 years old. I don't remember.
I remember the Philadelphia Stars, though.
Philadelphia Stars, Kelvin Bryant.
That was certainly a point of pride.
You're like Rain Man. You remember everything.
Right.
Not everything. Getting older.
Oh, now, we mentioned IMG Academy. Oh, by the way, because they did a lot of talking about that in the documentary. So, IMG Academy just recently got bought by an investment group.
Yeah.
How much?
Billions.
$1.2 billion.
Because I follow.
Yeah, $1.2 billion.
It's a moneymaker.
Oh yeah, there you go. And that's kind of
kids are paying to go there.
Yes. And all the
60, 70, 80. You get 100 kids, that's $8 million.
And all that exposure too. Oh yeah.
And every sport, they got every sport there. It's not just football, basketball, it's everything. But it's all.
And then they're probably able, unlike Mr. Johnson here, who we got pictured there, they're probably able to get quality accredited teachers there when they're trying to teach the students, get them prepared for college in an academic sense.
Preparatory classes.
Yes. Because there's a certain authority that's conferred upon you once you have that name, coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, certain people, like this guy, he just laughed because he got on the phone. Who cares if you got on the phone with Michael Strahan?
Yeah, you mean
Michael Strahan ain't paying your bills.
Right.
You know, he's on the Today Show, laughing, joking, and announcing that Fox football.
Right.
You know?
Can you believe the money, like what we're doing right now?
Can
you believe the money these guys get?
We're doing it.
It's insane to me the money they're getting.
We can do that.
The money that they're yeah, right. The money that they're getting, the money that the parents are paying within travel, for participation, etc. It's just too much. I'm sorry, but here's a quote from this movie, The Cooler, that kind of sums up my feeling. I didn't get a chance to bleep it out, I hope.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Oh shoot! Now
The 7 words you can't say on TV.
Yeah,
Carlin, remember that?
Yeah. So here's it was Alec Baldwin in The Cooler. Here's the scene.
Something that used to be beautiful. Used to have class, a gorgeous, high-priced cooker with an exclusive clientele. They'll look you in a fucking family way, and knocks you up and puts you in a fucking family way.
That's Alex Baldwin.
Fat, poor, hiding behind too much fucking makeup. I look at her, I see all her fucking stretch marks, it makes me want to cry. Because I remember the way she used to be. Am I right?
That's what I kind of think when I look at high school sports sometimes.
It's Alec Baldwin.
Yes. Good film, independent film, released in
New York accent. That's
What's
right.
yeah, 2000, The Cooler.
What's it on?
You know, Where's This Train was released in 2003, so let's see real quick. Good question. Cooler streaming. The Cooler streaming.
I think I'd like it.
You would it's a great movie. Great movie. Also in it, William H. Macy. It's on Peacock, Apple TV, or Prime Video. So if you got one of those three, you got a way to watch it. Yeah, good movie.
Prime.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I might have to watch that when I fall asleep.
It's funny. People are surprised that I actually watch movies. Can I just tell you the movies I like?
Sure. I was like, we gotta talk movies one of these days.
I used to love Jack Nicholson. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Great movie. I look at that sometimes.
Those guys, if they knew how to play to their audience, the lunatics. It was great. And Nicholson was unbelievable.
I think of that movie often nowadays because I look around and you see the news stories and I'm like, yeah, remember One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? They're out in the streets now. Yeah. We used to keep places, put them in places, but now they're amongst us. I'm sorry, Dave, please continue.
I believe Death Wish.
With Charles Bronson?
And he would be, because his wife was murdered.
It's a man's movie,
yeah. He got back at the criminals by just...
So I don't have cable anymore. I don't watch TV, but I watch movies.
Okay.
Netflix. Never saw that, but I saw a movie with my girlfriend.
Charles Bronson.
Salt.
And he was Salt. I kind of like the Psycho guy.
They recently remade that now a few years back. I want to say Bruce Willis. They remade Death Wish.
He got himself in situations where he'd be around knowing criminals were going to be there. They come up to him like subways and stuff like that, and he would just, they'd go, hey man, you're dead, man. The other guys would come in, you're dead.
Total vigilante movie.
Oh, it's insane.
2018 recreated with Bruce Willis as the lead.
Oh, but I like Charles Bronson. Pennsylvania guy, by the way. We had some great actors.
Yeah.
I do know that. And then Fatal Attraction.
Oh, I was terrified of her. Yeah. My mom, there were so many movies my mom took me to the theater to.
Oh, she took you that in the
Yes. she didn't have a babysitter. Like, come on, Darren, we go.
My little brother was right, plain clothes.
I was terrible. But after that movie, that was one of those cautionary tales. I was like, man, I ain't trying to step. If I get married, I ain't stepping out.
Oh, yeah, watch that, Chris. And then Sleeping with the Enemy.
Oh, with Julia.
Julia Roberts.
Okay.
There are some psycho.
Actually, have you No Country for Old Men?
Who's that?
I've seen it. I don't remember it, but I've seen it. So like I'm like a Donnie Brasco, Goodfellas,
Okay.
Casino,
Irishman.
Oh yeah, very.
Yeah, but like we watched a movie this weekend. It was called Salt with Angelina Jolie.
Oh yeah,
She was an undercover CIA agent, but she was a Russian spy. Oh my god, one of the best movies I've seen. Then I seen I can't remember, but like I watched like three. This is the only. I don't relax. I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm always moving around doing stuff. So I was able to watch 2 or 3 movies and like just relax. But Salt was the one that really caught my eye. I have to watch that again. It's on Netflix.
So yeah, I do like the psycho ones for something.
Oh,
It's funny. People think I'm a psycho.
All right, Psycho Jack.
I'm pretty normal.
Psycho Jack. No.
No, I didn't watch that one. But I also like The Green Mile.
Okay.
That's a good movie.
I like that. That was the.
What about Forrest Gump?
Yeah, my man. I don't want to. So anyway, when it comes to a great movie with Brian Piccolo and Gail Sayers, that made my dad cry.
Oh yeah, that's total tearjerker, yeah. No, you can't have if you don't cry at that movie, you have no soul. Like that's a good way to test out a guy. Play that movie in front of him, he doesn't cry. You're like, this guy is not okay.
Anyway, yes, Dave Burman, I do like some movies out there, but Nicholson is just
he's the man.
You like Independent?
He's Departed, the movie Departed.
Oh, great movie.
Didn't see that
What?
one.
Well, if you like Nicholson, he's awesome.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see
Leonardo DiCaprio, or whatever his name is.
DiCaprio, Matt Damon. It's
Great
great.
movie.
He's loosely the character that
He was like a cop
Nicholson.
guy.
Yeah, he's loosely based on Whitey Bulger. So when you don't know who Whitey Bulger
Watch
is?
it, dude.
Oh,
I
total.
gotta get caught up on some of this stuff.
Total criminal. Total criminal. He actually Whitey Bulger, and so this is
Southie, the Brian Boston.
Yes, this plot line is played along in the movie The Departed because he basically puts as a criminal, he gets somebody who's in the FBI, knows him from around the neighborhood under his wing, and just then starts to trade information. This guy starts shielding Bulger from the FBI, so Bulger can still do his thing, commit crimes, murder, and whatnot, and while extracting little bits and pieces of information
From local police and FBI.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Another Nicholson, real quick. They kept grilling him.
Few Good Men. Yes.
And then he just went.
You can't handle the truth.
So anyway, I just like it, and I do like when I watch sports-wise. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I love the brawls. I love the fights, man.
Oh
And the
yeah.
baseball fights are some of the best.
Well, they don't get no action, so when they get a chance to show some testosterone, they go all the
I
way.
saw some stuff. It's unbelievable.
The Cincinnati Reds picture, I got taken out of the game in charge of bench. That was the best one I've seen on Instagram yet.
This year?
I don't remember. I watch it quite often.
Well, we have some of the insane managers we've had. And right now we have Aaron Boone, John Boyd, Aaron Boone. And it's funny, his dad was Mel Bobo, but Aaron's crazy. David, but anyway, sometime Tommy Lasorda, some of these managers.
Lupinella, yeah.
They were crazy. But
back to movies. You don't like? Do you have HBO by chance? Anybody got HBO?
I got it on through the stream.
The Green Room. Look up Green Room, Dave. That sounds like a movie up here. You saw that? Well, it was like it starts off. It's an independent little indie rock band, punk rock band.
Yeah.
They're out. They're performing at one gig, on the road, trying to get little kids at bars or what have you.
Oh.
They turn around and they go for an interview with this guy that does a magazine. They do the interview, etc. Turn around and my man's like, "Yo, the gig that I had booked for y'all fell through, but y'all can perform at my cousin's. Listen, it's a little neo-Nazi camp. You all right with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, they paying, so we ain't sitting there going Zeke Heil with them." So they go, and then it goes sideways from there. you would definitely enjoy that. If you like some carnage and chaos, sounds like you do. So you would enjoy. Oh, and Ben Kingsley's in that as well. So he plays. I would definitely recommend Green Room. And if you're gonna watch BS High, Chris, I would also suggest The System. It's on HBO Max as well. Now, The System is about remember that whole academic scandal with respect to cheating, coaches getting paid, and what's his name, Sean Miller. Sean Miller got swept up in it for a minute a few years ago. Sean Miller and some other coaches. They had
Blackhawk.
He went to Pitt. Yeah.
Pitt. He coached Rondé.
Yeah, he coaches.
Rondé's head coach in Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's where he coaches now. Yeah,
he took him to Rondé helped him go to 2 Elite Eights.
Yeah.
And then as I get off the subject,
he still playing?
Rondé, no, he's overseas now. But they went back to real quick. They went to 2 Elite Eights. Sean Miller and Coach Rondé. And guess who they lost to? Who knocked them out of the Elite Eight? A Chester guy. Orion, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. There we go.
2 years in a row. That's great. So anyway, Sean Miller's in it.
Yeah, he got mixed up in the scandal, this whole coaches paying players thing, when that really wasn't taking place at all. But he would expose the game as far as how the money, because this guy, he just wanted to be a sports agent. The center of the documentary, he wanted to be a big sports agent.
Anybody can do the NIL stuff now. Anybody can be.
Right.
I'm not.
So he was.
I wish they paid me when I was there.
I know, right? So he was trying to connect. His thing was connecting players with coaches, and he was. But he wound up getting swept up in this FBI sting. It was like a total manufactured case by the FBI. If you ever get a chance, it's called the scam.
The scam?
Or let me see. The scam or the system? Let me see here. Apologies, John. Give me one moment. The scam or the system? I forget. But yeah, I would definitely, especially from what I've gleaned over the past hour and a half that we talked, you would definitely enjoy both of those documentaries.
Your shows are archived on YouTube also.
That's correct.
Okay, good. Because I want to share it.
You're going to send it to me?
Yeah.
The scam.
I'm not good with all that,
Well, you're a good coach, so, but anyway.
I'm pretty good at this, too.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, this has been awesome. I would love to have y'all on again, talk movies and whatnot, talk sports especially. Well, that's a given. So I was going to say that goes without saying.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to, if we can do it again, maybe middle of the year or something like that, see how things are going.
Oh, precisely.
Yeah, because I do it on my show too, but it's good to have, it's great. And we have a meeting later today.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I might crash the show one of these days. Mondays are my day off, so I might just walk in here and forget to act like I'm using my phone.
Yeah, well, we have the mics.
Okay.
Chris, all right, Chester Cheltenham. Come on, I mean, this is such a big game coming up in football for the mentality of the kids and everything.
It's a must-win.
I don't know about that.
It's a must-win.
Chester is still the favorite to win the double.
Yeah.
But you gotta start getting those.
They got ads on FanDuel for that? No, I'm kidding.
No. And Pete Rose,
what a degenerate that would make some.
I don't care what you think.
So look, I think it's a must-win, but it's a must get on the scoreboard game.
Oh yeah,
they got to shut out.
Definitely.
They got to get on the scoreboard. I feel like Chester, once they get a little bit of momentum, they get on the board a little bit. They move the ball. They get a couple first downs. They didn't really move the ball too well against Parkview and Bay.
No.
I don't think they got 10 first downs. So,
no.
So it's one of those things where you get a couple first downs, you get a score, gives the kids a little confidence, and hopefully they can compete. But to me, I think they'll come out, they'll play hard, and you see where it goes. They can be 0-2 or 1-1. Or let's say 1-0 every week, because once you start off bad like that, the goal is to be 1-0 every week.
And everybody's coming after it.
Yeah.
Because the year they had last season.
Oh yes.
And then got Phoenixville, who they whooped last year up there, so they're coming in week 3. And then
is that a Chester?
That's Chester. Yeah. And I got some good pictures with the coaches too. I get a lot of.
I will say
that game.
an old saying is adversity introduces a man to himself. It works the same way with the team.
Yeah.
So we'll find out more about this.
What they're made of.
Yes.
You
You see, we will find out.
They need a couple first downs and a touchdown. I think if they get on the board, they can build off of that.
I understand.
Under the lights, it'll be
a different atmosphere for
total focus, and yeah, it is really tough. Like you were talking about, athletes getting blasted. Jason Kelsey got blasted a lot. The center for the Eagles before they won the Super Bowl. Then they win the Super Bowl, and he's the man.
With the all-timer of a speech, yes.
Oh yeah, now that
cut a heck of a promo, man. He's got a future in the WWE.
He's got a future as the mayor of Philadelphia.
He's calmed down a little bit, but that was like,
he's got 3 little kids.
Because you can't say those words on TV. You can't say.
I forget what he said.
Oh, he's up there. He goes, for all you sports writers. He was talking about they were just that. Yeah. And then he said, for all you guys, he said, bleep you. But instead of bleep, I'm not going to try. As much as I curse off the air, I'm not going to curse on the air.
Right.
But I just trained.
He was talking about
the reporters.
The reporter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there was one in particular. I guess.
McClain wrote a preseason hit piece on Howie Roseman that year.
We won it all.
Yeah.
And Jason is the nicest guy. And speaking of nice, these Chester kids are, yes, they're intense, and they're very nice kids.
Yeah, I know.
And as you know. So, I mean, you can't be nice when you play sports. So
you got to be pissed.
Yes.
You got a chip on your shoulder.
It really is, man. You got
to play to hurt.
And it's the
basis
of the sport. It's a.
What did he say?
Fred Pickett here. Our goal. Our goal in Chester. To win at all costs, but clean.
Right.
How's that sound?
Well, yeah, he ran a tight ship.
Fred.
Yeah, he was a great coach.
Yeah, he won 3 state titles, all-time winningest coach. We named the gym after him, Fred Pickett Gymnasium. That gym's 50 years old now.
Really?
So yeah. So yeah, I mean, of all the and the Phillies, they get blasted all year. Michael Barkamp and those guys. I mean, they had to have thick skin too. They get hammered. I mean, they're playing better now. But he got in trouble, Michael Barkamp, for saying after the Super Bowl and the Eagles got a raw deal in the last that penalty. You don't make a call with this on
right.
That is, I'm going to say, that is bull bleep. Bull bleep. He said it twice, and he got a little.
Well, because he was showing his passion too.
That's what I loved it. I loved it. And Jaworski was there with him. So anyway, yeah, but in this show here, we are.
Well, you're not FCC regulated. So
gotcha. Okay. So just all my career, and I got in trouble. Now, oh my gosh, there was a player for State College, his 6'11" kid named Hunter Dick. And he was playing against our Mifflin County team. This is like 12.
You never made it through middle school.
So, tremendous play by Hunter Dick, a dribble penetration, slams it for 2. Dribble penetration. And I say that.
He slammed it in there.
Well, yeah. So, and then you get some people, but it's just the way that you said Dick. His Hunter Dick. So anyway, so that's okay for the FCC, but you can't.
No, and that's what you mentioned, Kelsey. I remember when there was a whole bunch of to-do about my man for the Phillies.
Oh, Jason,
world
FCC champion. Jason Kelsey was like, "Hold my beer, I'm going in."
I know, he had the miles out on him, man. It was great.
When I saw him, when they before the buses even departed, and I saw him just standing there, I was like, "Oh boy, here we go."
He's crazy. Kelsey.
Oh, Kelsey.
That's a drinking outfit right there.
He's talking to everybody. Him and Bryce Harper. This is so cool. And Harper's getting blasted again last night because he's just he's getting picked off base, and he's just an aggressive player.
Right, and that's easy. High risk, high reward player.
Yes, he's a little. Yeah, I love his passion. He's crazy too.
most of the time things favor the aggressor in sports. I mean, basketball, more aggressive team gets some more calls. In football, the more aggressive team gets some more real estate, which in turn equals victories. And
who's the craziest high school coach in Delaware County? Who is a real crazy coach? I know in basketball. I love it.
Y'all got a Bobby Knight type running around here, loose on the children.
Mike Doyle. Pencrest, he is intense.
Okay.
And I announced the game last year. It was funny. It was Pencrest at Academy Park. It was the first game of the year. I was PA announcer.
Uh-huh.
And they're a very young Pencrest team, and he just went all. I think he shoved it through a chair. I don't think he threw a chair. But he got my wife. He's gonna. But he was battling cancer. He was battling cancer. Doyle. And this keeps him going. So anyway, Mike Doyle. Coach, I love Coach Doyle. I'm trying to think, how crazy can you be these days?
No, you can't. Not like that.
Curry was nuts.
Those days are over, Dave.
Yeah, man. You'll
be
Bobby
fired in 2 seconds.
Yes, indeed.
I hear stories, these guys.
You will be fired and you will be viral as a meme. Oh, yeah.
Like Brian Mulhern, rest in peace.
Yeah.
You know the Mulhern boys. You know they're intense. Because the dad was unbelievable.
DeVoue 64. That was his nickname.
Brian. The dad.
DeVoue 64.
Wow, I heard
Nice.
that.
If you came around him, you had the detour because he would hurt you.
You pick up games. Yeah. His brand, it's funny because Strathaven had Ike Jones. He was a star in 93, 94 Strathaven football, 92, 93. His wife is Kelly.
Kate.
Kate Mulhern.
Her too.
Kate Mulhern, that's Brian's daughter.
Yep.
And Ike married, and they had the two sons, they both transferred from Strathaven. They're going to Haverford School. Yeah, so keep an eye on the Jones boys. And the grandfather, it was Harry
Harry's dad
Jones.
just got inducted into the Western Kentucky Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. There's so many guys I'd love to have on my CFP show. And 10 of Life with
Mr. Muhammad, yes.
Yeah. With
10 of Life with Mr. Muhammad, yeah.
No,
Keith Muhammad.
No, he does his own show. It's a Tyrone Ricks.
I got them confused.
Yeah,
Respect for Life. I got Respect for Life confused with 10 of Life.
Yeah, so he does it just on, and we can get you on that show too. It's just by Zoom though.
Okay.
It's a Zoom show. But anyway, we've had some legends. We had Chris Logano. We've had some legends.
Yeah, I tried to get.
He's been on the CFP too.
Yeah. I ain't going to play.
I'll get some good people to come on here.
On here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
I was on every Monday night. I was with you a lot last year.
Yeah, you were. And it's good. I mean, because I don't mind, you can talk. You're very, it's good. So, what other top subjects do you focus on over the years?
Crazy
you've been doing this for how
stories.
long? How many
A couple
years?
of years now. Yeah, 3 in March. So,
have you ever done sports, like the sports show?
Yeah, no, just an all sports show. Like usually I do, I break it up into blocks. So most of the time, so with you guys it's been more freeform. But I try and break it up into blocks. So block 1 will be sports and what have you. Block 2 will be interesting stories, funny stories, and then block 3 is like local news, feel good, fluff stuff. Right. We got a little segment called Peace Weekly Hero where I give him 3 nominees, and he picks out one. So it's like
Who picks out one?
Pete picks, yeah.
Well, this is sports is what it is, and guys like Chris who can talk. It's great because I played the game. You guys were in the trenches.
Yeah, so I was in LA like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was this guy, March for Peace. You gotta look him up on Instagram. He has all good vibe. He gave us a T-shirt or whatever. It was a good. You ever see Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles?
Right.
From You People.
Yeah.
London. Me and my girlfriend went there. And the guy he was out in front of that, giving out a T-shirt. So it was a real good. But he's kind of like you. He supports the school district in Los Angeles County.
Nice. Yeah.
So merch
for peace. For the number.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for the number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He puts up a lot of things. I'm surprised I'm not on there because it was good when we were out there. We had a good time. We talked and he's like, "You guys are from the East Coast. Like, what the hell are you doing out
Can
there?"
they tell if you're from the East Coast?
Oh yeah, he knew.
Well, I know
Now, once you open your mouth, or
just how we carry ourselves.
okay,
We
you
carry
walk
ourselves
and
a little
everything.
differently.
Yeah, because I'm sure that weather out there in LA makes you probably walk differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just,
I was on the radio in Harrisonburg, Virginia, 13 years. Shenandoah Valley. I was actually, for 26 years, I worked in areas called the Bible Belt. Mifflin County, yeah. And Harrisonburg, Virginia. And they used to call down in Virginia. They're so into that Civil War stuff. They kept calling me Yankee.
oh yeah.
They called me Yankee all the time. You damn Yankee, Burman. And I stayed there 13 years. But there was enough transplants down there that were. It was cool. Even the local yokels loved it. I mean, after a while, they got used to it. Yeah, but I just thought they said, "Oh, you guys just speak your piece too much up there."
Well, that's what you should though. You should.
Well,
because too many people nowadays. Mike Tyson says it the best. Too many internet gangsters. They'll never say it.
Say you're right. They're real brave with those thumbs.
Real brave with their fingers.
Their thumbs are doing.
I love Mike Tyson. He's one of my favorites. If we can get him on here, we'd be great.
I don't know about Mike the year.
Who cares?
Okay.
He had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Oh, Tyson. There's a
Tyson Fury.
Tyson. There is a series on Hulu. Or you don't have Hulu.
Do you not believe in saying what you think?
No, I'm very much against it. Thinking aloud is a habit responsible for much of mankind's misery.
So that was speaking your mind. That was a quote.
You should. So I feel as if there's so many people that don't speak their mind anymore or tell you how they feel. They tell other people how they feel about you. They should just say it to your face. It'd make life a lot easier.
Right. We can cut through the BS. So I'm sure you hated LA then.
No, LA was
they definitely
cool.
don't do that.
Well, no, LA was definitely a different vibe. I thought it was chill and a good time. There was a lot of good sightseeing there. And we met some good people along the way. It's crazy, when you have positive energy and how people gravitate towards you. It doesn't matter where you're from or what skin color you are or who you are. They just gravitate towards you,
I'm glad to know you guys.
Yes,
I'm glad we can work together here and stuff like that. But yeah, it's great. We can hopefully do it again and
yes, please. Later on in the season, gentlemen?
Yeah, that's
all right, I'll make sure to have refreshments, by the way. I apologize. I have some breakfast for y'all. Get y'all here early. Get y'all breakfast either after.
I need to do a couple push-ups.
Yeah. Okay, all right. We'll walk around. We'll walk it off after.
I'm ready to, go to the gym. I'm down here and I ask my wife to start working. But I'm still working full time in the warehouse. So
that's why you look so good.
That's how you can keep that wife. Yeah.
So I'm doing all right. Hopefully we can get a couple pictures here after the show.
Certainly. Well, gentlemen, it has been awesome. I thank y'all so much for taking your time out of your morning. I know on a Sunday, your day off, you could be like Dave, you mentioned, sleeping in. Instead, you choose to spend your time.
We want to get the word out, man. We want to get the word in. If it's in Chester or anybody, but the Clippers. That was so highly, there's a lot of people busting my chops. And I get some text back, "Hey, Burman, now that Chester's playing a tough schedule, what happened yesterday?" And I'm like, "Oh my God,
that's not your fault."
Don't bust my chops. They played a very good program.
Yeah.
Football, you guys just leave
it
alone.
You can win any day.
Support.
That is why they play the game.
Yeah. And Chester played Downtown West tough last year. They played Coatesville tough. That was just one of those.
They just got to win the big game. That's all.
Well, I know.
Once they win, they'll shut people up.
And I still would love to see Chester and I might be public address announcer for actually St. Joe's Prep game next week. It's going to be in our backyard again. It's going to be in Salesiana and a big showcase. No, oh my gosh, I forget who it is, but it's 5 o'clock next. It's Salesiana High School. It's like a showcase. They really wanted me to do all the games, but it's I'm doing. Well, I got a full-time job.
Okay, there you go.
And it's Saturday. Well, Saturday I can do the last 2 games, but St. Joe's Prep is the last game. And then I don't know who they play, but it's going to be a good team.
Gene Deladon's the new head coach of Louisiana. Ernie Deladon, Elena Deladon's brother.
Oh, wow. Okay, she was
I reached out to him to help him coach.
She's still in the WNBA, right?
Yeah, she's still in the WNBA.
So, yeah, that's go Clippers, go Delco, and Yeah, and so we went on, all the Delco teams to do good. And of course, I got Coatesville, I'm doing their game at Academy Park. And you try to do a professional, I'm not a yeller and screamer with a public address, you just try to do a professional job. And, it was just one of those days yesterday.
Yeah. And speaking of games, don't forget on cmpradio.net this Thursday. We'll be recording. They have shows on the Thursday night slate for CMP, but we'll probably record the game Thursday. Record the Clippers game on the road against Cheltenham and probably stream it at a later time during that evening or what have you.
Yeah. Well, I'll be
don't forget, folks, CMP listeners, don't forget Thursday. Check out CMP's lineup as far as the narrative, Respect for Life with Keith Muhammad, and the Clippers game against the Cheltenham Panthers.
Yeah, you guys called the athletic director and all that?
No, I'm doing that Monday.
Yeah. They're cool. Okay. You got to get the accurate roster.
Right.
Oh, because I was watching last night, the State College High School played at Williamsport. I know both programs very well. So live
Millionaires,
yeah. Williamsport. And State College crushed them. They're good again. But anyway, the announcer, Jamie Spencer, and it's a web weekly. They do their games like us, live.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of sponsors, though, man.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sponsors. So everything's archived on YouTube, and the whole game, dressing. I forget the kid's last name, but they have a running back, number 7. He was number 0 for State College last year. Dressen, he was wearing number 7, and Jamie kept saying it was another guy, and then finally, he was just tearing it up last night, but it was number 7. So they gave the wrong roster, and he kept calling the wrong name. And he goes, now wait a minute here, well, we don't see Dressen playing tonight, and we have Joe Becker here that's had an unbelievable game, and it turned out I'm going to ask the coach, this is like late in the second quarter, and you had to ask the assistant coach.
Right.
And I'm surprised he didn't say it right away, too. You're sitting right next to him. By the way, probably trying to hold the information, we changed his number before the game, so he got 0. So that's what you got to kind of watch out for.
Yeah. For sure.
Especially
so I'll talk to them Monday. Yeah. Thank you, by the way. I'll call them Monday.
Yeah. So, all right. Thanks for everything. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Darren.
We will see you next time.
Yes, indeed. Then thank you for joining us, folks. Don't forget, I'll see you next Sunday on the D Train with Darren DeVoue. We'll probably have a recapping Thursday's game as well as Peace Weekly Hero.
D Train, great group. You remember that group?
Oh yeah, James Williams. Yeah.
Oh, D Train. Back in the day.
All right. We'll see you next Sunday, folks.